Hello, my name is Rick Yarber, and I'd like to take this time to share with you a research project I completed as part of my coursework through Capella University. In this research project, I examined the Accelerated Learning Academy, which is a brand new program for alternative education students through grades 7 through 12. And this program is in the city of Flint, Michigan, and it was formed from two prior alternative education programs. The two programs that existed before the Accelerated Learning Academy were Mount Adult High School and Northern Academy. Mount Adult High School had been around since the 1950s, and it was developed after World War II to provide GIs an opportunity to continue their education upon return from the war. They could receive either their GED or their high school completion. Mount Adult High School also offered career training as well in specific medical fields. While Northern Academy had only been in existence 1 year prior to its closure, and that was a 7th through 9th grade alternative program that allowed students to earn credits and get back on track. Mount Adult High School also had an accelerated pace as well. Both of these programs were designed to help students catch up and graduate on time or as close to time as possible. In the Accelerated Learning Academy, the students were merged 7th through 12th grade to provide one alternative school for the district. And this was done as part of the district's deficit elimination plan. The City of Flint School District, or Flint Community Schools, is currently operating in the 2014-15 school year with a deficit of $22 million. So as a result, programs have been cut and reduced over the past few years to try to reduce the deficit so that the district can operate in the black. The wonderings that got me examining the Accelerated Learning Academy was the fact that I was a teacher there. And every day the teachers would receive a suspension list. And I would notice every day on the suspension list there would be 65 to 85 students approximately. And on average there were 75 students suspended a day. Now these suspensions include students who may be on the expulsion list or are waiting for their hearing, or just students who are suspended for everyday offenses. But I thought 75 students on average out of 500 students is an extremely high number. And we can't educate our students if they are not in the classroom. In this research project, I developed a positive behavior support system with incentives to try to reduce that number, the number of students who are suspended. Now, the Flint Community Schools are a Title I district. That means they receive extra funding to help with the low income of the city. And both the city and the school district are financially in a lot of trouble. It was a big city that was built upon GM. At its height, it had 44,000 students in its school district. Now the district is operating with under 7,800 students. So they have been closing buildings and programs for the last 15 years. But the district is still on decline and is trying to get back into the black and progress into a bright future. As I was examining the students of the Accelerated Learning Academy, I broke down the students who were suspended into two categories. The first category was first-time offenders, and that is not literally referring to students who have only been in trouble once or twice. I'm referring to students who may have only been suspended once or twice, maybe 3 times this school year, and then repeat offenders, students who have been suspended 4 times or more during this school year. And I noticed that the middle school teachers had already established a support system. The middle school teachers were developed into teams. Each team would have the same students throughout the day. So the team of middle school teachers would have a history teacher, social studies teacher, an English teacher, a science teacher, and a math teacher. And so those students would rotate between those teachers every day, and they would also have their elective classes as well. And so the middle school teams would work together to put their own interventions in place. Now I myself was teaching the high school population. And the high school students did not have any intervention or any support system at all. They would simply go from one teacher's classroom to the next with no collaboration in between about their behavior, attendance, so on and so forth. The middle school teachers decided to institute Friday afternoon basketball games. And this would happen during 6 hours, the last period of the day, where students who behaved during the week, they did not get in trouble, they were on task with their assignments, they had their assignments turned in, they were allowed to go down to the gymnasium and they could play in a basketball game or watch the basketball game from the stands and hang out with their friends. Now, to understand the importance of basketball in the city of Flint, I need to take you back through a little bit of history. Flint has had several students play at the Division I collegiate level and even on into the NBA. Mateen Cleaves is probably one of the most famous students from the Flint Community Schools who went on to play Division I basketball and in the NBA. He was part of the Flintstones group at Michigan State who went to the Final Four and won a national championship. So basketball is king in the city of Flint. People love it. They'll pack out the gyms for basketball games. They will have 50 kids try out for a high school team while they can't even get enough kids to fill a baseball team or a soccer team. Basketball is king in the city of Flint. And so it plays an important aspect in the culture. They love to go and watch games, and they love to play in games, even if it's just pickup games. I have witnessed students playing basketball with pop bottles, just shooting them, working on their shot, tennis balls, anything they can find to play basketball with, they will do that. And so basketball is a major incentive. And just having the ability to go down to the gym and watch a game, that is incentive for students as well. Because one, they're out of class, and two, they can hang out with their friends if they also behave. So the idea was to implement a basketball game for the high school students as well, and to see if we reduce the number of suspensions. Initially, I was going to try to put more incentives in place, but I was laid off by the Flint Community Schools kind of at the beginning of this research project as part of their deficit elimination plan. Myself and 40 other teachers were released. So I have had to work throughout this project with some secondhand information based on some colleagues of mine or former colleagues who would supply me with suspension lists and information on how the interventions were going. But what I was told is that once the basketball games were instituted for both high school and middle school, for the first week and a half, based on the suspension lists they sent me and the other information I was able to gather, the number of suspensions decreased by about 15. So that means there were about 60 students suspended each week, which would be a drop in 15. As time progressed, it hovered around that number for about 2 to 3 weeks. Then it started to slowly, gradually move back up closer to that 75 mark. But overall, what we discovered is that the basketball program was an incentive for a while. But eventually the students got bored with it. They needed something more, and the basketball game was not a strong enough incentive to keep their behavior on task, to keep them from getting into trouble. That is where the Flint Community Schools needs to take a step forward and look at other positive behavior interventions they could institute or implement. Before I was laid off, some of the ideas we were talking about were time in the weight room for the students to work off some of their energy, whether male or female, just work out a part of the day where they could go down, lift weights, run on the treadmill, use the bike, to burn off some energy and prepare their body to go back and learn. The basketball games obviously were another incentive. And then we started looking at maybe pizza days and fun days, things that we could reward our students who worked hard, and the other students who maybe they didn't get the reward, they could have that desire to obtain that reward. But what I found during my research is that all of these incentives, they simply treat the symptoms of the issue. They treat that the surface area of it. It's like an ointment you put on a rash. It makes the rash go away, but it may not actually cure what the rash is. And the issue with the students in the Flint Community Schools, and this is a very broad and general definition, but many of these students come from poor home lives. They may not know where their next meal is coming from. They may live on the streets. I've had countless students who are homeless. They may not have a way to and from school. We had one student walk 6 miles to school when it was 12 degrees out, one way, and he walked home. So, as teachers and staff, we have to identify that root cause of whatever may be causing the behavior. The students may have a poor home life. Maybe there's been violence in the home. Or Flint is the murder capital of the United States. They may have lost someone. So my suggestion would be to the Flint Community Schools is examine how they can better treat the root issue that is occurring in their students. How can they treat or help to treat the grieving heart? How can they provide bus routes more efficiently and more effectively? How can they meet the needs of their students? And I will say this, many of the students may not have food at home, but since Flint Community Schools are a Title I school district, students can receive breakfast and lunch for free during their time at school. We offer breakfast from 7:30 to 8:05, and obviously they have their lunch as well, and we can even send them home with snacks. But Flint is a city that is decaying. The school district is decaying. And implementing positive support systems, positive interventions, they may help for a while, but they don't meet Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Students need to feel safe and secure in the school. They need to have food in their stomachs so that they can come to school ready to learn. And they need to see the value in it. And I think that's the biggest thing in Flint. Students don't see the value because they know they're struggling to get by. They're fighting for survival. And yet the drug dealer down the street, he's got a wad of cash, but he's taking the easy way. And that's where our students find themselves, especially in the alternative education. They can either take the easy way out and have a better life, or they can fight, tooth and nail, scratch and claw their way to success. And that's what Flint needs to do. Help their students see the point in school. Find that vision. Find that purpose in education so that the students want to be successful. They want to strive to be their best. And then all these behavior issues will go away because they see the value. And at this point, they don't see the value. So any behavior system you're going to implement, positive behavior system you may set up, if it treats the symptoms, it's only going to work for a short time. It's not actually going to treat the root of the issue. And that is finding the purpose in school and having your needs met. Thank you for your time.